quadratic formula is something that's always good to practice, I think. We need to make sure it's equal to 0, so if we add the 2 to both sides, we get x squared plus 12x plus 2 equals 0. Now let me make your life a little bit easier. Take out a 2. You don't need it to do the quadratic formula. If you divide by 2 because you got 0 over here, or factor out a 2, you end up with a 3x squared plus 6x plus 1 equals 0. Again, if I divide both sides by 2, it just goes away and it's not going to affect us necessarily when it comes to solving for x. But anyway, you have your negative b, which is a negative 6, plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 6 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 3, times c, which is 1, all over 2 times 3, which is the a value. Now I do a shorthand shortcut here. That's 36, and that's minus 12. If I do that, I end up with a square root of 24. So I have a negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 24 all over 6. Please don't cancel those. You can't. You're not allowed to, because if you can factor something out, you could, and that's what you should do if you can factor it out, but you can't. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take out the perfect square that goes into 24, and that's 4. So if I go off to the side, and sometimes I just sort of do that, square root of 24 is equal to the square root of 4 times 6. Now you could also say 8 times 3 or 12 times 1, but none of those have a perfect square in it like we have here. The square root of 4 is equal to 2, so this could be substituted by writing 2 times the square root of 6. That's what we're going to replace this guy with. Okay? So doing that, down here, negative 6 plus or minus 2 times the square root of 6 over 6. Okay? We still can't cancel the 6's, but what we can do is we can factor out a 2 now. And this 6, by the way, is not compatible with that because that's trapped inside the radical. So you take out your 2. You have a negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 6 all over 6. Now it's this 2 that I can reduce with because it's a product of everything. It's not just part of one side or the other of this plus or minus. So this and this can be reduced to a 3. And you look, and that's none of the options we have. It almost looks like that. You want to go with that because, oh, it's the closest. But it's not. Remember, you have 2 items over 3. You can say each one of those items is technically over 3 individually. And if you do that, you have a negative 3 over 3 plus or minus the square root of 6 over 3. In so doing, you're able to reduce that to a negative 1, which is why your answer is, in fact, B.